Mistaken identity. The holographic star map flickered as Sofia Rivera made another calculation adjustment, her fingers flying across the touch-sensitive surface with practiced precision. Dawn light filtered through the observatory dome above her workstation, but she hadn't noticed the night passing. With her presentation to the International Space Exploration Committee only hours away, sleep had become a luxury she couldn't afford. "Come on, work with me," she muttered, tucking a strand of dark hair behind her ear as she stared at the simulation results. The propulsion theory she'd spent 3 years developing showed promise, but the energy distribution calculations weren't stabilizing. Her phone buzzed with a message from her colleague, Mira. Committee members arriving early. Hawkins asking for preliminary data. "Where are you?" Sofia glanced at the time and swore under her breath. 6:30 already. The presentation was at 9, and she'd planned to do a final equipment check by 7, hastily saving her work. She gathered her tablets and research notes, nearly knocking over her cold coffee in the process. The Astral Dynamics Research Center was still quiet at this hour, her footsteps echoing through the curved hallways as she rushed toward the presentation chamber. Rounding a corner too quickly, she collided with someone, sending one of her tablets skidding across the polished floor. "I'm so sorry," she said automatically, not really looking at the person as she knelt to retrieve her scattered notes. "No harm done," replied a quiet male voice. When Sofia glanced up, she saw a man in simple clothes, worn jeans and a plain gray t-shirt, crouching to help gather her papers. Nothing about him suggested importance. No ID badge prominently displayed, no company logo attire. Just an ordinary-looking guy with thoughtful eyes and uncombed hair who seemed about her age. Mid-30s, perhaps. "Thanks," she said distractedly, accepting the papers he handed her. Then an idea struck her. "Actually, are you with maintenance?" He hesitated before answering. "I do fix things around here, yes." "Perfect. I need urgent help in presentation chamber A." Sofia checked her watch again. "The projection system was glitching yesterday, and I absolutely cannot have it fail during my presentation. The committee members are already arriving." The man tilted his head slightly, studying her with curiosity. "You're presenting to the ISEC today?" "Yes, on modified gravitational wave propulsion theory." She straightened her blazer nervously. "Probably career suicide to challenge the Vega equations in front of the International Committee. But the math supports my modifications." Something flickered in the man's eyes. Amusement, perhaps, or interest. But Sofia was too preoccupied to analyze it. "Could you please check the system? I'd be incredibly grateful." She fumbled in her bag and produced an access card. "This should get you in." "I'll be there soon. Just need to grab the final simulation data from my lab." The man accepted the card, his expression unreadable. "The Vega equations have been the foundation of interstellar propulsion theory for a decade. You've found flaws?" Sofia paused, surprised by a maintenance worker's apparent knowledge of advanced theoretical physics. "Not flaws exactly, limitations. Dr. Vega's work revolutionized the field, but his calculations assumed perfect vacuum conditions. My research addresses real space-particle interaction. It could make actual application viable within our lifetime." "Interesting," he said simply. "I've been told it's interesting. Impossible and career-ending in equal measure," Sofia replied with a wry smile. "But I'm out of time to explain. Please, the projection system? It needs to display multidimensional calculations clearly." "I'll take care of it," he assured her. "Thank you, truly." She was already backing away toward her lab. "I owe you one." 20 minutes later, Sofia entered presentation chamber A to find it perfectly prepared. The holographic projection system was running a test pattern with crystalline clarity, and someone had even calibrated the dimensional scaling, a tedious process she'd been dreading. Committee members were beginning to file in, distinguished scientists and industry leaders from around the world, taking their seats in the tiered observation area. Sofia spotted Dr. Lydia Hawkins, her department head, who gave her an encouraging nod. As Sofia connected her data tablet to the main system, the maintenance worker from earlier slipped quietly into the chamber through a side door. She caught his eye and mouthed, "Thank you," before returning to her preparations. The chairperson called the session to order precisely at 9 o'clock. Today we welcome Dr. Sofia Rivera, presenting her research on modified gravitational wave propulsion theory. Dr. Rivera's work at Astral Dynamics has produced some compelling challenges to existing theoretical frameworks. Taking a deep breath, Sophia stepped forward. Her nervousness dissolved as soon as she began speaking about her research. This was her element, the language of physics and mathematics flowing naturally as she guided the committee through her discoveries. The brilliance of the Vega equations lies in their elegant simplification of quantum gravitational interactions, she explained, bringing up the famous formulas developed by Dr. Elias Vega, the reclusive genius behind astral dynamics. However, when we introduce real space conditions, for 40 minutes, Sophia presented her research with passion and precision, barely noticing as more people entered the chamber, standing along the walls when seats filled. Questions from committee members came rapid-fire, some skeptical, others intrigued. She handled each with confidence, her years of work providing solid ground beneath her assertions. Finally, Dr. Hawkins stood. Before we conclude, I believe Dr. Vega himself might have questions. A ripple of surprise moved through the audience. Elias Vega rarely attended committee presentations, preferring to review findings privately. Sophia felt a flutter of apprehension. Having the creator of the equations she was modifying in attendance was unexpected and intimidating. "Where is Dr. Vega?" she asked, scanning the audience. The maintenance worker from earlier rose from his seat in the back row. As he walked forward, his casual demeanor shifted subtly, revealing a confident poise that had been carefully understated before. "I believe we've already met," he said, his voice carrying easily through the suddenly silent chamber. "Though I wasn't properly introduced. Elias Vega, you asked me to fix your projection system." Sophia froze, the blood draining from her face as realization crashed over her. She had mistaken the founder and CEO of Astral Dynamics, the billionaire physicist whose theories she had just spent 40 minutes challenging, for a maintenance worker. Worse, she had handed him an access card and ordered him to fix equipment. The room waited in tense silence for his next words. Sophia braced herself for public humiliation, for the end of her career at Astral Dynamics. Instead, Elias Vega smiled, a genuine expression that reached his thoughtful eyes. "Dr. Rivera," he said, "I find your modifications to my equations not only interesting but potentially revolutionary. I'd very much like to continue this discussion, perhaps somewhere I'm not mistaken for the help." A wave of surprised laughter rippled through the chamber, breaking the tension. Sophia managed a shocked nod, relief and mortification battling for dominance as she realized her career might survive this encounter after all. What she couldn't possibly know was how refreshing Elias Vega had found their initial interaction, the first time in years someone had spoken to him as a person rather than a legend, challenging his work based purely on its merit rather than his reputation. As the session concluded, Sophia gathered her materials with trembling hands, wondering what consequences awaited her beyond the chamber doors. Scientific collision. Sophia spent 24 hours waiting for termination paperwork that never arrived. Instead, a sleek autonomous vehicle delivered an encrypted tablet containing an invitation to Elias Vega's private research facility nestled in the mountains outside the city. The laboratory was a modernist marvel of glass and sustainable materials, seemingly growing from the mountainside itself. Inside, astronomical equipment worth millions surrounded a central workspace where Elias waited, dressed only marginally more formally than when they'd first met. "Dr. Rivera," he greeted her. "Welcome to where the real work happens." "Dr. Vega, I want to apologize for treating me like a normal person," he interrupted with a faint smile. "Do you know how rare that is? Everyone approaches me with preconceptions or agendas." As he guided her through the facility, Sophia observed his unpretentious nature, brilliant but oddly humble for someone who had revolutionized theoretical physics and built a corporate empire on his discoveries. "Your presentation was exceptional," he said, activating a holographic display. "You saw limitations in my work that I've been struggling with myself." He revealed Project Horizon, a classified initiative to develop the world's first functional gravitational propulsion system. The mathematical models displayed striking similarities to her own research. "I've been working on this for 3 years," Sophia said, studying the equations. "And I've hit a wall with mine for nearly 2, Elias admitted. "Which is why I'm proposing collaboration rather than competition. Join my team, not as an employee but as a partner." The offer stunned her. "Why me? You have Nobel laureates at your disposal." They follow established paths. You forge new ones. His eyes met hers with unexpected intensity. Sometimes the greatest discoveries come from those brave enough to question what everyone else accepts as truth. Sophia accepted the position, and over the following weeks they established a productive routine. Days were spent refining calculations and running simulations. Evenings often extended into spirited debates over theoretical applications. One night, reviewing data after the rest of the team had departed, Elias brought out a bottle of wine. To challenging assumptions, he toasted, "In science and in people." "Is that why you didn't correct me when we first met?" Sophia asked. "You wanted to see if I'd treat you differently once I knew who you were? I've found it's an effective character test." His gaze lingered on her face. "Most people are either overly deferential or trying to impress me. You just wanted me to fix a projection system." They laughed together, and for the first time, Sophia saw beyond the brilliant scientist to the man beneath. Thoughtful, slightly reserved, carrying the isolation that often accompanies extraordinary intellect. As weeks passed, their collaboration produced remarkable advances, each bringing complementary strengths to the research. What began as professional respect evolved into genuine friendship, and increasingly, something deeper neither was ready to acknowledge. Gravity's pull. 3 months into their partnership, breakthroughs came rapidly. Their modified gravitational equations were holding stable in advanced simulations, bringing theoretical application closer to reality. To celebrate a particularly significant milestone, Elias suggested they observe a meteor shower from the observatory dome atop the facility. The glass ceiling retracted, revealing a tapestry of stars against the mountain's dark silhouette. "This is why I built here," Elias said, voice soft with reverence as meteors streaked overhead. Away from light pollution, closer to what we're trying to understand. They lay side by side on observation couches, the boundary between professional colleagues and something more intimate growing increasingly tenuous. "Why astrophysics?" he asked during a lull in the celestial display. Sophia considered her answer. "My father was a migrant worker. We moved constantly, but the stars were always there, consistent, beautiful, mysterious. I wanted to understand something permanent. Mine thought physics was impractical," Elias confessed. "He wanted me in business. I built a company to fund the research he considered a waste of time." The honesty of the moment created a connection that transcended their scientific partnership. When Elias's hand found hers in the darkness, the contact felt as natural as gravity itself. Their first kiss happened beneath falling stars, tentative at first, then deepening with the intensity that characterized their intellectual connection, finding new expression. "I don't usually mix personal and professional," Sophia whispered when they finally separated. "Neither do I," he admitted, "but nothing about our partnership has followed conventional patterns." The following morning, while searching the database for research references, Sophia stumbled upon encrypted files mentioning her former mentor, Dr. Elena Vasquez, the brilliant physicist who had died in a lab accident 3 years earlier, whose unfinished research had inspired Sophia's own work. The files suggested Elias had acquired Elena's research under questionable circumstances shortly before her death. According to the records, Elena had been developing similar gravitational theories but had refused to sell them to Astral Dynamics. Confronting Elias with her discovery, Sophia felt her newfound trust crumbling. "Did you steal her work? Is that why you were so interested in mine, because it was based on hers?" "It's more complicated than that," Elias began. "Were you using me to complete what she wouldn't give you?" The pain in her voice was evident. "Sophia, please." But she was already gathering her things, professional boundaries snapping back into place like a shield. "I need time to think. Away from here, away from you." She left the facility, her scientific passion now clouded by personal betrayal, the warmth of their kiss beneath the stars replaced by cold suspicion. Dark matter. Sophia retreated to her apartment in the city, requesting temporary leave from the project while continuing to work remotely on her assigned portions. The distance provided clarity for her scientific contributions, but did nothing to resolve the emotional turbulence. 2 weeks into her self-imposed exile, Julian Mercer, CEO of rival company Quantum Frontiers, approached her after a lecture she gave at the university. Your work with Vega is groundbreaking, he said smoothly. But are you aware of his history with intellectual acquisition? Elena Vasquez wasn't his first victim. Julian offered her a position at double her current salary, along with full research autonomy and credit. He also provided documents detailing Elias's supposed pattern of appropriating others' discoveries. Consider your options carefully, Dr. Rivera, Julian advised. Brilliance doesn't excuse exploitation. The offer was tempting, especially with her trust in Elias shaken. But something about Julian's eagerness felt calculating rather than concerned. That night, her research tablet lit up with an urgent alert from the facility. Critical system instabilities were threatening the entire project. Despite her personal conflict, Sophia couldn't let months of work collapse. She rushed to the mountain laboratory, arriving to find Elias working desperately to stabilize the gravitational containment field. The harmonics are off, she called, immediately sliding back into their scientific shorthand. We need to recalibrate the quantum resonance. For hours they worked side by side, the urgency of saving their research temporarily suspending the gulf between them. When the system finally stabilized, exhaustion left them both leaning against the laboratory wall, the adrenaline of crisis giving way to the awkwardness of unresolved tension. Julian Mercer approached me, Sophia said finally, watching Elias's reaction carefully. I suspected he might. No surprise showed on his face. What did he offer? Everything. Money, credit, autonomy, and a file about your history of intellectual acquisition. Elias closed his eyes briefly. Did you accept? I'm here, aren't I? She crossed her arms. But I need the truth about Elena. Wordlessly, Elias activated a secure terminal, entering a complex authentication sequence. Video files appeared, meetings between him and Elena Vasquez. She contacted me when corporate interests began pressuring her, he explained. Her research had military applications she never intended. The acquisition story was a cover we created together. The final video showed Elena entrusting her research to Elias for safekeeping. If anything happens to me, she said on screen, make sure this is used for exploration, not exploitation. And find my student Sophia. She'll understand the work. Sophia watched in stunned silence as the pieces realigned. She sent you to find me. I was monitoring your progress for years, Elias admitted. When your research started paralleling her protected work, I knew it was time. The realization that their partnership had been orchestrated by her mentor, not to exploit her work but to protect, it transformed Sophia's understanding of everything that had happened between them. Why didn't you tell me from the beginning? Elena had enemies powerful enough to eliminate her, Elias said quietly. Your genuine ignorance was your protection. The last barrier between them dissolved as Sophia recognized the burden he had carried alone, protecting research that could change humanity's future while honoring the wishes of a brilliant woman silenced too. Soon, celestial harmony. 6 months later, Sophia stood beside Elias at the International Space Exploration Committee's annual conference. Before them, the world's leading scientists and officials gathered for the unveiling of the Vasquez-Rivera gravitational engine, the first functional prototype incorporating their combined theories. Today marks not merely a technological breakthrough, Elias addressed the assembly, but a tribute to collaborative science across boundaries. This achievement belongs primarily to Dr. Sophia Rivera and the late Dr. Elena Vasquez, whose vision made it possible. His public acknowledgement of both women's contributions, placing his own name deliberately after theirs in the research, credits wasn't lost on those who knew his usual reticence to share spotlight. The demonstration proceeded flawlessly. The small prototype lifted into controlled flight using only gravitational field manipulation. No conventional propulsion required. The implications for space travel, energy production, and terrestrial transportation were immediately apparent to everyone present. Afterward, amidst congratulations and questions from colleagues, Elias drew Sophia aside. I have something to tell you, he said quietly. I'm stepping down as CEO of Astral Dynamics. Sophia stared at him in shock. What? Why? I've spent a decade building a company to fund the research I wanted to do, he explained. Somewhere along the way, I became more administrator than scientist. I want to return to actual discovery. His eyes held hers with newfound openness. I'm establishing an independent research institute with the Vasquez Rivera principles as its foundation. I'd like you to consider co-directing it with me." The offer represented everything Sophia had ever wanted professionally: autonomy, resources recognition. But his next words made clear it wasn't only a professional proposition. "I've learned that the most important discoveries happen when we're brave enough to venture into unknown territory," he continued. "In science and in life." That evening, they returned to the original observatory where they'd first met, Sophia mistaking the brilliant billionaire for a maintenance worker. The facility was quiet now, the holographic star map casting gentle light across the room. "It seems fitting to end up back where we started," Sophia said, standing beneath the dome as stars emerged overhead. "Not an ending," Elias corrected, taking her hand. "A proper beginning." As their lips met, both recognized the symmetry of their journey. Two brilliant minds whose collision had created something neither could have achieved alone. A partnership forged through challenge and respect, strengthened by truth and vulnerability. Outside the observatory windows, the first test flight of their gravitational engine created a gentle, luminous trail across the night sky. Visible proof that questioning established theories, challenging assumptions, and reaching across divisions could lead to transformations beyond imagination. What had begun with mistaken identity had led to the discovery of their most authentic selves. Together beneath the weight of stars they both had always loved.